Welcome in. Good evening, everyone. I got to change our music. Thank you, dear. Oh, you need your voice. There we go. Yes, Saru absolutely went above and beyond with our chibi model and just added all the cute things. We love it. So very much. Just for Sarah. It is the sweetest. But how is everyone doing this evening? We have so many wonderful things to look forward to, and tonight we're going to be getting back to our reading and to the last two chapters within the dark Whispers in Darkness, a Lovecraftian tale. And then we will get back to the Magnus Archive and see how many episodes we make it through tonight. I think we left off... Oh my goodness.
Great. My nephew is 1 year today.
Oh! Okay. We must sing a little happy birthday. Hold on. I feel like the background music is a little bit too slow for it. Hold on. Let me find our rain mixture, and then I can sing it. I need to find like a happy birthday. I need to find a happy birthday song that we can have in the background for birthdays. That's so sweet. 1 year old. Oh, just a little bun. Just a little bun. I don't think rain is really appropriate for happy birthday either. But that's okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mia's nephew. Happy birthday to you. And I hope that you get to grow big and strong and have all of the fun adventures.
Even though it's April Fool's Day, it is his real birthday XD.
I think that's even more appropriate. He'll get to have a fun theme for his birthday every year. So that'll be really cute. I hope he has an amazing day today. Or I hope he had an amazing day today, actually, because it's, I forget you are ahead. You are ahead. So, but yes, I hope everyone also enjoyed. Oh, I've got to move our little telepalm as well. Oh, did you get him anything really? Of course. Did you get him anything particularly special that he wanted? I don't know what much more a 1-year-old would want besides cake, actually. And I bet there's new... Oh, man. Maybe, like, the little...
My presence should be enough.
Your...
XD.
Well then. I hope that he has the most splendid birthday then. It is me. I am the gift. Oh, that's very cute. I just prepared myself a nice coffee because I felt like coffee in the evening. It's decaf, so don't worry. But sometimes I just really like the taste of coffee. Most of the day I drink tea, an assortment of teas. I love, love, love my teas. But tonight I really wanted a nice coffee. Nice coffee with goat milk. Mm. Oh, I made it perfectly tonight too. Yummy.
Coffee chocolate beans are so good.
Yes, they are. I haven't had coffee chocolate beans in a while. They're really, really good though. I love the bitterness against the, well, milk chocolate. If it's the milk chocolate coating, I think if it's with dark chocolate, it's too much bitter. Bitter beer face. But I hope everyone enjoyed yesterday's broadcast, our pondering hour. What are you holding? You two are so funny. I'm holding, what was it? I'm holding a big tub.
99% dark chocolate.
No, that's too much. Mm-mm. I like milk chocolate more than dark chocolate, but I do like dark chocolate too. Just 99% is like, wow. It makes my lips pucker like with a lemon. But yes, no sleep holding a big tub of fat-free, high-protein yogurt. That sounds really yummy. Because the thumbnail was asking, everything tonight did not save. I don't know what has been with YouTube Studio lately when I change like my thumbnail
Actually now
photo.
I'm holding ice cold water.
Of course you are. Of course you are. At least you're not holding air anymore. Uh, but yeah, it hasn't been saving the profiles properly, so thank you for catching that. I was like, oh, I forgot the title. I forgot everything tonight. But that's okay. We're here, and that's what matters. And welcome to our new lovelies. I see that we have some more dreamers who have found their way into Somnium. Thank you for making your way here. Mwah. So, for tonight, we're going to finish those last two chapters of Whisper and Darkness, and then we will get back to the Magnus Archive. I also wanted to make sure that the Pulse app was functioning properly, and if anybody had any issues with saving the application to their desktop, there's more specific instructions. Oh, sorry.
Yet, I think is cool seeing every stream that more people have followed.
It is. It makes my heart feel really full. It makes me very happy. But what was I gonna say? Yes. um, I want if you're having any issues with the Pulse app, please let me know.
URL.
And there's the link to where we are. I don't, did we finish number 6? Or was number 6? Okay, yeah, we did finish number 6. Okay, so we're on number 7. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. We're on 7. But there is a playlist, and if you go to that playlist, you'll be able to
6-7.
follow. No! Don't do the dad joke.
URL.
But that's where we are now, on 7, not 6. And that is the Piper episode. Again, that is for the Magnus Archive. It is a horror podcast by the Rusty Quill. And we are slowly making our way through the 200 episodes that they have. At the end of the whole podcast, I would love all of us to rate which episode we thought was our favorite. And I'll have some more pressing questions once we get further along, because if I ask them now, it'll sort of give away certain themes within the show. But yes, when we get to the end, I want to know which episode was your favorite. There's so many good ones. So good. So good. And I think I saw Rusty Quill posted about another show that they have currently. So I want to check that out after we're done with this one. And don't forget, they also have a book that will be releasing in October. So if you want to support Rusty Quill, please find the book on their YouTube or their website. They also have a Reddit. I'm trying to think. They have multiple of the of the
After we're done,
socials.
in 100 years,
No, it's not going to be 100 years. We're gonna have to start one day very early. We're gonna have to start one day really early so that way we're doing like a 12-hour long stream of just the Magnus Archive. That'll be like our first slumber party, maybe. And I would love it if by then we have our 3D model so that way we can actually like lay down in a bed and
like at 6 o'clock,
it would be at 6
or
o'clock for
7.
you. So let's see. I think that you are probably, it's 8 o'clock here in Somnium right now. So I think you're either 6 hours ahead of me. So it would be, if I start at 6 o'clock in the morning, it would be 10 o'clock your time.
For me it's 2:25.
Oh, it's 2. So yeah, you are 6 hours ahead. Okay. So I would just have to try to find like a good time for everyone. If it was going to be a 12-hour stream, it would probably be around 6 or 7 in the morning to start, and then probably drop off around midnight. That's, I think we could get through a substantial amount. We'll see how long everyone can make it before they fall asleep. Be like, can you go back to that episode?
There is no RH time for the whole world. I think it's round, you know?
There's what is it called? What is the universal time? UTC time. So I'll have to find like a UTC clock. So the universal coordinated time right now is
Is that a thing?
Yes, it is a thing. It's
Did not know.
yes. UTC time is the time used, I believe, for specifically for the what is the word I'm looking for?
System rebooting.
Yes. Our little Bibu Boppy that's supposed to be our narrator tonight is having connection issues. All right.
XD.
So, UTC, or Universal Time Coordinated, is the most precise and commonly referred to time standard. Since the 1970s, this time standard has been globally used as the most precise time standard instead of the formerly used GMT standard, which has turned now into a regular time zone. In order to learn the current time in UTC, it is enough for you to just open the main page of our website. In addition, you can also see a few types of UTC formats. So, I want the official website. I don't think that one is it though.
So, for this stream start it would be midnight.
No, because midnight would be about 8.
So I'm 2 hours ahead of it.
Hold on. What is your time zone? Is it CET? Is that I think that's is that 6 hours ahead of me? Or CEST, sorry, which is Central European Summertime. So yeah, that would be your time zone. So yes, you're 2 hours ahead of it. Yeah, you got it. Good job. So we would want you got it. So we would want to Man, I think we'd really have to sit down and figure out how we'd would want to do the time for everyone. Because even No Sleep is in a different time zone as well.
URL.
But that's a good URL to use to coordinate times between people. So, and I think the one that I just sent has all of our time zones on there. So 2:29 for you, 8:29 for me, and 12:29 for UTC. So if we started at 6 o'clock my time, it would be 12 p.m. your time or 10 a.m. UTC time. So if we wanted to do a 12-hour from noon p.m. to midnight, that would be 6 a.m. for me to 6 p.m. and noon p.m. for you until midnight.
Make a poll that says, "Where you from?" so I can figure out when to start stream.
I will. I'll have to make a post about it to see when everybody might want to coordinate their schedules. But if anything, I think I'd probably start around 6 or 7 my time. And I feel like that would be so early though. Maybe I would do noon my time. If we were gonna do noon for me, that would be
7.
No. Don't do it. You made me choke on my coffee. All right. Well, for now, let's go ahead and finish up our last couple of chapters so we can get to so we can get to to the podcast. And hopefully the Bibu Boppy won't die. But please allow yourself, as usual, to get comfortable to the sound of my voice. We are going to finish the last 2 chapters of Whisper and Darkness, a Lovecraftian tale, and then we will begin the Magnus Archive. The link is posted, and I should have bookmarked it. Let me find it. There it is. All right. Let us begin. I have to take your voice away for a little bit. Yes, it is. That is Telepon, and it's a cute little Bibu Boppy that sometimes it can have like a narrator sort of stance, which is what it's doing right now. It's narrating what's happening. So that way, if someone comes into the broadcast, hopefully it will help them to figure out, like, hey, this is what's going on. But it also has a mode that's more of like a comforting presence, which I already, I don't know if it would be too much for both Telepon and I both to be as affectionate and embracing, but we can maybe try that on the next broadcast and see, or actually probably for our pondering hour, having having it to be very comforting. A comforting presence would probably be more appropriate. Yeah, like a co-host. That's exactly right, dear. Good job. All right. Chapter 7. Refusing to let these cloudy qualms overmaster me, I recalled Noyes' instructions and pushed open the 6-paneled brass-latched white door on my left. The room beyond was darkened, as I had known before, and as I entered it, I noticed that the queer odor was stronger there. There likewise appeared to be some faint half-imaginary rhythm or vibration in the air. For a moment, the closed blinds allowed me to see very little, but then a kind of apologetic hacking or whispering sound drew my attention to a great easy chair in the farther, darker corner of the room. Within its shadowy depths, I saw the white blur of a man's face and hands, and in a moment I had crossed to greet the figure who had tried to speak. Dim though the light was, I perceived that this was indeed my host. I had studied the Kodak picture repeatedly, and there could be no mistake about this firm, weather-beaten face with the cropped grizzly beard. But as I looked again, my recognition was mixed with sadness and anxiety, for certainly his face was that of a very sick man. I felt that there must be something more than asthma behind that strained, rigid, immobile expression, an unwinking, glassy stare, and realized how terrible the strain of his frightful expression or experiences must have told on him. Was it not enough to break any human being, even a younger man, than this intrepid delver into the forbidden? The strange and sudden relief I feared had come too late to save him from something like a general breakdown. There was a touch of the pitiful in the limp, lifeless way his lean hands rested in his lap. He had on a loose dressing gown and was swathed around the head and high around the neck with a vivid yellow scarf or hood. And then I saw that he was trying to talk in the same hacking whisper with which he had agreed to meet, or which he had greeted me. It was a hard whisper to catch at first, since the gray mustache concealed all movement of the lips, and something in its timbre disturbed me greatly. but by concentrating my attention, I could soon make out its purport surprisingly well. The accent was by no means a rustic one, and the language was even more polished than correspondence had led me to expect. Mr. Wilmoth, I presume. You must pardon my not rising. I am quite ill, as Mr. Noyes must have told you, but I could not resist having you come just the same. You know what I wrote in my last letter. There is so much to tell you tomorrow when I shall feel better. I can't say how glad I am to see you in person after all our letters. You have the files with you, of course, and the Kodak prints and records. Noyes put your valise in the hall. I suppose you saw it. For tonight, I fear you'll have to wait on yourself to a great extent. Your room is upstairs, the one over this, and you'll see the bathroom door open at the head of the staircase. There's a meal spread for you in the dining room, right through this door at your right, which you can take whenever you feel like it. I'll be a better host tomorrow, but just now weakness leaves me helpless. Make yourself at home. You might take out the letters and pictures and records and put them on the table here before you go upstairs with your bag. It is here that we shall discuss them. You can see my phonograph on the corner stand. No thanks. There's nothing you can do for me. I know these spells of old. Just come back for a little quiet visiting before night and then go to bed when you please. I'll rest right here. Perhaps sleep here all night, as I often do. In the morning, I'll be far better able to go into things we must go into. You realize, of course, the utterly stupendous nature of the matter before us? To us, as to only a few men on this earth, there will be opened up gulfs of time and space and knowledge beyond anything within the concept of human science or philosophy. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can read the whole thing like that. He's a sickly man, okay? Oh. Do you know that Einstein is wrong and that certain objects and forces can move with a velocity greater than that of light? With proper aid, I'd expect to go backward and forward in time and actually see and feel the earth of remote past and future epochs. Thank you, dear. Yeah, that was sweet. Oh, thank you. I know I'm trying really hard not to wreck my voice. Hold on, maybe a sip of coffee. Oh, I looked at the page. There's like 2 or 3 more pages of him like that. And I'm like, oh no. At least I will understand being an asthmatic myself. I should have my inhaler as a prop. All right. Back in character now. Um, you can't imagine the degree to which those beings have carried science. There is nothing they can't do with the mind and body of living organisms. I expected to visit all the planets and even other stars and galaxies. The first trip will be to Yogoth, the nearest world fully peopled by the beings. It is a strange dark orb at the very rim of our solar system, unknown to earthly astronomers as yet. But I must have written you about this, and at the proper time, the beings there will direct thought currents towards us and cause it to be discovered. Or perhaps let one of their human allies give the scientist a hint. There are mighty cities on Yogoth, great tiers of terrace towers built of black stone like the specimen I tried to send you. That came from Yogoth. The sun shines there no brighter than a star, but the beings need no light. They have other subtler senses and put no windows in their great houses and temples. Light even hurts and hampers and confuses them, for it does not exist at all in the black cosmos, outside time and space, where they came originally. To visit Yogoth would drive any weak man mad, and yet I am going there. The black rivers of pitch that flow under those mysterious cyclopean bridges, things built by some elder race extinct and forgotten before the beings came to Yogoth from the ultimate voids, ought to be enough to make any man a Dante or Poe, if he can keep sane long enough to tell what he has seen. But remember, that dark world of fungoid gardens and windowless cities isn't really terrible. It is only to us that it would seem so. Probably this world seemed just as terrible to the beings when they first explored it in the primal age. They were here long before the fabulous epoch of Cthulhu was over. And remember all about sunken Rylan when it was above the waters. They've been inside the earth too. There are openings which human beings know nothing of. Some of them in these very Vermont hills. And great worlds of unknown life down there. Blue lighten, Kinyon, red lighten, Yoth, and black lightless Inkai. It's from Inkai that frightful Tsugu came, the amorphous toad-like god creature mentioned in the Peconic manuscripts and the Necronomicon, and the Comorium myth cycle preserved by the Atlantean high priest Clarkashton. But we will talk of all this later on. It must be 4 or 5 o'clock by this time. To bring this stuff from your bag, take a bite, and then come back for a comfortable chat. I think I've warned you before about picking voices because now you have to do that voice. But I like it. I genuinely love my role play. Alright. Very slowly, I turned and began to obey my host, fetching my valise, extracting and depositing the desired articles, and finally ascending to the room designated as mine. With the memory of that roadside claw print fresh in my mind, Akeley's whispered paragraphs had affected me queerly, and the hints of familiarity with this unknown world of fungus life, forbidden Yoggoth, made my flesh creep more than I cared to own. I was tremendously sorry about Akeley's illness, but had to confess that his hoarse whisper had a hateful as well as pitiful quality. If only he wouldn't gloat so much about Yoggoth and its black secrets. My room proved a very pleasant and well-furnished one, devoid alike of the musty odor and disturbing sense of vibration. And after leaving my valise, there I descended again to greet Akeley and take the lunch he had set out for me. The dining room was just beyond the study, and I saw that a kitchen L extended still further in the same direction. On the dining table, an ample array of sandwiches, cake, and cheese awaited me, and a thermos bottle beside a cup and saucer testified that hot coffee had not been forgotten. After a well-relished meal, I poured myself a liberal cup of coffee, but found that the culinary standard had suffered a lapse in this one detail. My first spoonful revealed a faintly unpleasant, acrid taste, so that I did not take more. Throughout the lunch I thought of Akeley sitting silently in the great chair in the darkened next room. Once I went in to beg him to share the repast, but he whispered that he could eat nothing as yet. Later on, just before he slept, he would take some malted milk, all he ought to have that day. After lunch, I insisted on clearing the dishes away and washing them in the kitchen sink, incidentally emptying the coffee which I had not been able to appreciate. Then, returning to the darkened study, I drew up a chair near my hostess' corner and prepared for such a conversation as he might feel inclined to conduct. The letters, pictures, and record were still on the large center table, but for the nonce we did not have to draw upon them. Before long, I forgot even the bizarre order and curious suggestion of vibration. I have said that there were things in some of Akeley's letters, especially the second and most voluminous one, which I would not dare to quote, or even form into words on paper. This hesitancy applies with still greater force to the things I heard whispered that evening in the darkened room among the lonely hills. Of the extent of the cosmic horrors unfolded by the Ross's voice I cannot even hint. He had known hideous things before, but what he had learned since making his pact with the outside things was almost too much for sanity to bear. Even now, I absolutely refused to believe what he implied about the constitution of ultimate infinity, the juxtaposition of dimensions, and the frightful position of our known cosmos of space and time in the unending chain of linked cosmo-atoms, which makes up the immediate supercosmos of curves, angles, and material and semi-material electronic organizations. Never was a sane man more dangerously close to the arcana of basic entity. Never was an organic brain nearer to utter annihilation, and the chaos that transcended form and force and symmetry. I learned whence Cthulhu first came and why half the great temporary stars of history had flared forth. I guessed, from hints which made even my informant pause timidly, the secrets behind the megalonic clouds and globular nebulae, and the black truth veiled by the immemorial allegory of Toe. The nature of the duels was plainly revealed, and I was told the essence, though not the source, of the hounds of Tyndalos. The legend of Yig, father of serpents, remained figurative no longer, and I started with loathing when told of the monstrous nuclear chaos beyond angled space which the Necronomicon had mercifully cloaked under the name of Azathoth. It was shocking to have the foulest nightmares of secret myths cleared up in concrete terms whose stark, morbid hatefulness exceeded the boldest hints of ancient and medieval mystics. Inelucidably, I was led to believe that the first whisperers of these accursed tales must have discoursed with Akeley's outer ones, and perhaps have visited outer cosmic realms as Akeley now proposed visiting them. I was told of the black stone and what it implied, and was glad that it had not reached me. My guesses about those hieroglyphics had been all too correct, and yet Akeley now seemed reconciled to the whole fiendish system he had stumbled upon, reconciled and eager to probe further into the monstrous abyss. I wondered what beings had he talked with since his last letter to me, and whether many of them had been as human as the first emissary he had mentioned. The tensions in my head grew insufferable, and I built up all sorts of wild theories about that queer, persistent odor, and those insidious hints of vibration in the darkened room. Night was falling now, and as I recalled what Akeley had written me about those earlier nights, I shuddered to think there would be no moon. Also, we have a full moon tonight. The pink moon. Nor did I like the way the farmhouse nestled in the lee of that colossal forested slope leading up to the dark mountain's unvisited crest. With Akeley's permission, I lighted a small oil lamp, turned it low, and set it on a distant bookcase beside the ghostly bust of Milton. But afterward, I was sorry I had done so, for it made my host's strained, immobile face and listless hands look damnably abnormal and corpse-like. He seemed half incapable of motion, though I saw him nod stiffly once in a while. After what he had told, I could scarcely imagine what profounder secrets he was saving for the morrow, but at last it developed that his trip to Yogoth and beyond, and my own possible participation in it, was to be the next day's topic. He must have been amused by the start of the horror I gave at hearing a cosmic voyage on my part proposed, for his head wobbled violently when I showed my fear. Subsequently, he spoke very gently of how human beings might accomplish, and several times had accomplished, the seemingly impossible flight across the interstellar void. It seemed that complete human bodies did not indeed make the trip, but that the prodigious surgical, biological, chemical, and mechanical skill of the outer ones had found a way to convey human brains without their concomitant physical structure. There was a harmless way to extract a brain, and a way to keep the organic residue alive during its absence. The bare, compact cerebral matter was then immersed in an occasionally replenished fluid within an ether-tight cylinder of a metal mind in yoga, certain electrodes reaching through and connecting at will with elaborate instruments capable of duplicating the three vital faculties of sight, hearing, and speech. For the winged fungus beings to carry the brain cylinders intact through space was an easy matter. Then, on every planet covered by their civilization, they would find plenty of adjustable facility instruments capable of being connected with the encased brains, so that after a little fitting, these traveling intelligences could be given a full sensory and articulate life, albeit a bodiless and mechanical one, at each stage of their journeying through and beyond the time-space continuum. It was as simple as carrying a phonograph record about and playing it whenever a phonograph of corresponding makes exist. Of its success there could be no question. Akeley was not afraid. Had it not been brilliantly accomplished again and again? For the first time one of the inert, wasted hands raised itself and pointed stiffly to a high shelf on the further side of the room. There, in a neat row, stood more than a dozen cylinders of a metal I had never seen before. Cylinders about a foot high and somewhat less in diameter, with three curious sockets set in an isosceles triangle over the front convex surface of each. One of them was linked at two of the sockets to a pair of singular-looking machines that stood in the background. On their purport, I did not need to be told, and I shivered as with ague. Then I saw the hand point to a much nearer corner, where some intricate instruments were attached cords and plugs, several of them much like two devices on the shelf behind the cylinders, were hurdled together. There are 4 kinds of instruments here, Wilmoth, whispered the voice. 4 kinds, 3 faculties each, makes 12 pieces in all. You see, there are 4 different sorts of being represented in those cylinders up there. 3 humans, 6 fungoid beings who can't navigate space corporally, 2 beings from Neptune. God, if you could see the body this type has on its own planet, and the rest entities from the central caverns of an especially interesting dark star beyond the galaxy. In the principal outpost inside Round Hill, you'll now and then find more cylinders and machines. Cylinders of extra cosmic brains with different senses from any we know. Allies and explorers from outermost outside. And special machines for giving them impressions and expressions, and the several ways suited at once of them, and to the comprehension of different types of listeners. Round Hill, like most of the being's main outpost all through the various universes, is a very cosmopolitan place. Of course, only the more common types have been lent to me for experiment. Here, take the 3 machines I point to and set them on the table. That tall one with the 2 glass lenses in front. Then the box with the vacuum tubes and sounding board. And now the one with the metal disc on top. Now, for the cylinder with the label B67, don't do it. Don't do it. Paste it on it. I got myself out of character, darn it. I'm sorry. Now for the cylinder with the label B67 pasted on it. Just stand it in that Windsor chair to reach the shelf. Heavy? Oh, never mind. Be sure of the number B67. Why is that in here? No, it's not. Oh my gosh. I'm so upset that's like that. It's the truth of life. Oh man. The founding father. Stop. I put my serious face back on. Never mind. Be sure the number B67. Don't bother that fresh shiny cylinder joined to the 2 testing instruments. The one with my name on it. Set B67 on the table near where you put that machines. And see that the dial switch on all 3 machines is jammed over to the extreme left. Now, connect the cord of the lens machine with the upper socket of the cylinder. There. Join the tube machine to the lower left-hand socket. and the disc apparatus to the upper socket, or to the outer socket. Now move all the dial switches on the machine over to the extreme right. First the lens one, then the disc one, and then the tube one. Yes, that's right. I might as well tell you that this is a human being, just like any of us. I'll give you a taste of some of the others tomorrow. To this day, I do not know why I obeyed those whispers so slavishly, or whether I thought Akeley was mad or sane. After what I had gone before, I ought to have been prepared for anything. But this mechanical mummery seemed so like the typical vagaries of crazed inventors and scientists that it struck a chord of doubt which even the preceding discourse had not excited. What the whisperer implied was beyond all human belief. Yet, were not the other things still farther beyond, and less preposterous only because of their remoteness from tangible concrete proof? As my mind reeled amidst this chaos, I became conscious of a mixed grating and whirling from all three of the machines lately linked to the cylinder. A grating and whirling which soon subsided into a virtual noiselessness. What was about to happen? Was I to hear a voice? And if so, what proof would I have that it was not some cleverly concocted radio device talked into by a concealed but closely watched speaker? Even now, I'm unwilling to swear just what I heard, or just what phenomenon really took place before me. But something certainly seemed to take place. To be brief and plain, the machine with the tubes and sound box began to speak, and with a point and intelligence which left no doubt that the speaker was actually present and observing us. The voice was loud, metallic, lifeless, and plainly mechanical in every detail of its production. It was incapable of inflection or expressiveness, but scraped and rattled on with deadly precision and deliberation. Sorry. Mr. Wilmoth. I don't know if I can do this with lifeless, metallic, and plain. Okay. Mr. Wilmoth, it said, I hope I do not startle you. I am a human being like yourself, though my body is now resting safely under proper vitalizing treatment inside Round Hill, about 1.5 miles east of here. I myself am here with you. My brain is in the cylinder, sorry, and I see, hear, and speak through these electronic vibrators. In a week I am going across the void as I have been many times before, and I expect to have the pleasure of Mr. Akeley's company. I wish I might have yours as well, for I know you by sight and reputation, and have kept close track of your correspondence with our friend. I am, of course, one of the men who have become allied with the outside beings visiting our planet. I met them first in the Himalayas and have helped them in various ways. In return, they have given me experiences such few men have ever had. Do you realize what it means when I say I have been on 37 different celestial bodies, planets, dark stars, and less definable objects, including 8 outside our galaxy and 2 outside the curved cosmos of space and time? All this has not harmed me in the least. My brain has been removed from my body by fission so adwrought that it would be crude to call the operation surgery. The visiting beings have methods which make these extractions easy and almost normal, and one's body never ages when the brain is out of it. The brain, I may add, is virtually immortal, with its mechanical faculties and a limited nourishment supplied by occasional changes of preserving fluid. Although I hope most heartily that you will decide to come with Mr. Akeley and me. The visitors are eager to know men of knowledge like yourself, and to show them the greatest abysses that most of us have had to dream about in fanciful ignorance. It may seem strange at first to meet them, but I know you will be above minding that. I think Mr. Noyes will go along too, the man who doubtless brought you up in his car. He has been one of us for years. I suppose you recognize his voice as one of those on the record Mr. Akeley sent you. At my violent start, the speaker paused a moment before concluding. So, Mr. Wellmarth, I will leave the matter to you, merely adding that a man of your love of strangeness and folklore ought never to miss such a chance at this. There is nothing to fear. All transitions are painless, and there is much to enjoy in a wholly mechanized state of sensation. When the electrodes are disconnected, one merely drops off into a sleep of especially vivid and fantastic dreams. And now, if you don't mind, we might adjourn our session till tomorrow. Good night. Just turn all the switches back to the left. Never mind the exact order, though you might let the lens machine be last. Good night, Mr. Akeley. Treat our guest well. Ready now with those switches? And that was all. I obeyed mechanically and shut off all 3 switches, though dazed with doubt of everything that had occurred. My head was still reeling as I heard Akeley's whispering voice telling me that I might leave all the apparatuses on the table just as it was. He did not essay any comment on what had happened, and indeed no comment could have conveyed much to my burdened faculties. I heard him telling me I could take the lamp to use in my room, and deducted that he wished to rest alone in the dark. It was surely time he rested, for his discourse of the afternoon and evening had been such as to exhaust even vigorous men. Still dazed, I bade my host good night, and went upstairs with the lamp, although I had an excellent pocket flash with me. I was glad to be out of that downstairs study with the queer odor and vague suggestions of vibrations, yet could not of course escape a hideous sense of dread and peril and cosmic abnormality as I thought of the place I was in and the forces I was meeting. The wild, lonely region, the black, mysteriously forested slope towering so close behind the house, the footprint in the road, the sick, motionless whisperer in the dark, the hellish cylinders and machines, and above all, the invitations to strange surgery and stranger voyaging. These things, all so new and in such sudden succession, rushed in on me with a cumulative force which sapped my will and almost undermined my physical strength. To discover that my guide Noyes was the human celebrant in that monstrous bygone Sabbath ritual on the phonograph record, was a particular shock, though I had previously sensed a dim, repellent familiarity in his voice. Another special shock came from my own attitude toward my host whenever I paused to analyze it. For much as I had instinctively liked Akeley, as revealed in his correspondence, I now find that he filled me with a distinct repulsion. His illness ought to have excited my pity, but instead it gave me a kind of shudder. He was so rigid and inert and corpse-like, and that incessant whispering was so hateful and unhuman. It occurred to me that this whispering was different from anything else of the kind I had ever heard. That, despite the curious motionlessness of the speaker's mustache-screened lips, it had a latent strength and carrying power remarkable from the wheezing of an asthmatic. I had been able to understand the speaker when wholly across the room, and once or twice it had seemed to me that the faint but penetrant sound represented not so much weakness as deliberate repression. For what reason I could not guess. From the first I had felt a disturbing quality in his timbre. Now, when I tried to weigh the matter, I thought I could trace this impression to a kind of subconscious familiarity, like that which had made Noyes's voice so hazily ominous. But when or where I had encountered the thing it hinted at was more than I could tell. One thing was certain. I would not spend another night here. My scientific zeal had vanished amidst fear and loathing, and I felt nothing now but a wish to escape from this net of morbidity and unnatural revelation. I knew enough now. It must indeed be true that strange cosmic linkages do exist, but such things are surely not meant for normal human beings to meddle with. Blasphemous influences seemed to surround me and press chokingly upon my senses. Sleep, I decided, would be out of the question. So I merely exhausted the lamp and threw myself on the bed fully dressed. No doubt it was absurd, but I kept ready for some unknown emergency. Gripping in my right hand the revolver I had brought along, and holding the pocket flashlight in my left. Not a sound came from below, and I could imagine how my host was sitting there, with cadaverous stiffness in the dark. Somewhere I heard a clock ticking, and was vaguely grateful for the normality of the sound. It reminded me, though, of another thing about that region which disturbed me: the total absence of animal life. There were certainly no farm beasts about, and now I realized that even the accustomed night noises of wild living things was absent. Except for the sinister trickle of distant unseen waters, that stillness was anomalous, interplanetary, and I wondered what star-spawned intangible blight could be hanging over the region. I recalled from old legends that dogs and other beasts had always hated the outer ones, and thought of what those tracks in the road might mean. Chapter 8. Excuse me. The book is cursed. Only for the 6-7. You don't like me, do you? You know how I feel about dad jokes. No. um, all right. Last chapter, my dears. I'm wondering if I actually do need my inhaler. My voice hurts a little. Where is it? Hold on. Oh man. All right. I think I have my coughing under control. Do not ask me how long my unexpected lapse into slumber lasted, or how much of what ensued was sheer dream. If I tell you that I awakened at a certain time, and heard and saw certain things, you will merely answer that I did not wake then, and that everything was a dream until the moment when I rushed out of the house, stumbled to the shed where I had seen the old Ford, and seized that ancient vehicle for a mad, aimless ride, a race over the haunted hills, which at last landed me, after hours of jolting and winding through forest, threatened labyrinths, in a village which turned out to be Tamsin. You will also, of course, discount everything else in my report, and declare that all the pictures, record sounds, cylinder and machine sounds, and kindred evidence were bits of pure deception practiced on me by the missing Henry Akeley. You will even hint that he conspired with other eccentrics to carry out a silly and elaborate hoax. So keen we're finishing this on April Fools. That he had the express shipment removed at Keene, and that he had Noyes make that terrifying wax record. It is odd, though, that Noyes has not ever yet been identified, that he was unknown at any of the villages near Akeley's place, though he must have been frequently in the region. I wish I had stopped to memorize the license number of his car, or perhaps it is better after all that I did not. For I, despite all you can say, and despite all I sometimes try to say to myself, know that lonesome outside influences must be lurking there in the half-unknown hills, and that those influences have spies and emissaries in the world of men. To keep as far as possible from such influences and such emissaries is all that I ask of life in the future. When my frantic story sent a sheriff's posse out to the farmhouse, Akeley was gone without leaving a trace. His loose dressing gown, yellow scarf, and foot bandages lay on the study floor near his corner easy chair. I and could not be decided whether any of his other apparel had vanished with him. The dogs and livestock were indeed missing, and there were some curious bullet holes both on the house's exterior and on some of the walls within. But beyond this, nothing unusual could be detected. No cylinders or machines, none of the evidence I had brought in my valise, no queer odor or vibration sense, no footprints in the road, and none of the problematical things I glimpsed at the very last. I stayed a week in Brattleboro after my escape, making inquiries among people of every kind who had known Akeley, and the results convinced me that the matter is no figment of dream or a delusion. Akeley's queer purchase of dogs and ammunition and chemicals, and the cutting of his telephone wires are matters of record, while all who knew him, including his son in California, concede that his occasional remarks on strange studies had a certain consistency. Solid citizens believe he was mad, and unhesitantly pronounce all reported evidences mere hoaxes devised with insane cunning and perhaps abetted by eccentric associates. But the low-liar country folk sustain his statements in every detail. He had showed some of these rustics his photographs in black stone, and had played the hideous record for them, and they all said the footprints and buzzing voice were like those described in ancestral legends. They said, too, that suspicious sights and sounds had been noticed increasingly around Akeley's house after he had found the black stone, and that the place was now avoided by everyone except the mailman and other casual, tough-minded people. Dark Mountain and Round Hill were both notoriously haunted spots, and I could find no one who had ever closely explored either. Occasionally, disappearances of natives throughout the district's history were well attested, and these now included the semi-vagabond Walter Brown, whom Akeley's letters had mentioned. I even came upon one farmer who thought he had personally glimpsed one of the queer bodies at flood time in the swollen West River, but his tale was too confused to be really valuable. When I left Brattleboro, I resolved never to go back to Vermont, and I feel quite certain I shall keep my resolution. Those wild hills are surely the outpost of a frightful cosmic race, as I doubt all the less since reading that a new ninth planet had been glimpsed beyond Neptune. Just as those influences had said it would be glimpsed. Astronomers, with a hideous appropriateness they little support, have named the thing Pluto. I feel beyond question that it is nothing less than nighted Yoggoth, and I shiver when I try to figure out the real reason why its monstrous denizens wish to be known in this way at this especial time. I vainly tried to assure myself that these demonic creatures are not gradually leading up to some new policy hurtful to the earth and its normal inhabitants. But I have still to tell of the ending of that terrible night in the farmhouse. As I have said, I did finally drop into a troubled doze, a doze filled with bits of dreams which involved monstrous landscape glimpses. Just what awakened me I cannot yet say, but that I did indeed awake at this given point I feel very certain. My first confused impression was of stealthily creaking floorboards in the hall outside my door, and of a clumsy muffled fumbling at the latch. This, however, ceased almost at once, so that my real clear impression begins with the voices heard from the study below. There seemed to be several speakers, and I judged that they were controversially engaged. Sorry. By the time I had listened, By the time I had listened a few seconds, I was broad awake, for the nature of the voices was such as to make all thought of sleep ridiculous. The tones were curiously varied, and no one who had listened to that accursed phonograph record could harbor any doubt about the nature of at least two of them. Hideous though the idea was, I knew that I was under the same roof with nameless things from abysmal space. For those two voices were unmistakably the blasphemous buzzings which the outside beings used in their communication with men. The two were individually different in pitch, accent, and tempo, but they were both of the same damnable general kind. A third voice was indubitably that of a mechanical utterance machine connected with one of the detached brains in the cylinders. There was a little doubt about the buzzing. Sorry. There was as little doubt about that as about the buzzings, for the loud, mechanical, lifeless voice of the previous evening, with its inflectlessness, expressionlessness, scraping and rattling, had been utterly unforgettable. For a time I did not pause to question whether the intelligence behind the scraping was the identical one which had formerly talked to me. But shortly afterward I reflected that any brain would emit vocal sounds of the same quality if linked to the same mechanical speech producer, the only possible differences being in language, rhythm, speed, and pronunciation. To complete the eldritch colloquy, there were two actual human voices, one the crude speech of an unknown and evidently rustic man, and the other the suave Bostonian tones of my erstwhile guide Noyes. As I tried to catch the words which this stoutly fashioned floor so bafflingly intercepted, I was also conscious of a great deal of stirring and scratching and shuffling in the room below, so that I could not escape the impression that it was full of living beings, many more than the few whose speech I could single out. The exact nature of this stirring is extremely hard to describe, for very few good bases of comparison exist. Objects seemed now and then to move across the floor like conscious entities, the sound of their footfall having something about it like a loose, hard-surfaced clattering, as of the contact of ill-coordinated concrete. As of the contact of ill-coordinated surfaces of horn or hard rubber, It was, to use a more concrete but less accurate comparison, as if people with loose, splinterly wooden shoes were shambling and rattling about on the polished board floor. Of the nature and appearance of those responsible for the sounds, I did not care to speculate. Before long, I saw that it would be impossible to distinguish any connected discourse. Isolated words, including the names of Agley and myself, now and then floated up, especially when uttered by the mechanical speech producer. But their true significance was lost for want of continuous context. Today I refuse to form any definite deductions from them, and even their frightful effect on me was one of suggestion rather than of revelation. A terrible and abnormal conclave, I felt certain, was assembled below me, but for what shocking deliberation I could not tell. It was curious how this unquestioned sense of the malign and the blasphemous pervaded me despite Akeley's assurances of the outsider's friendliness. With patient listening, I began to distinguish clearly between voices, even though I could not grasp much of what any of the voices said. I seemed to catch certain typical emotions behind some of the speakers. One of the buzzing voices, for example, held an unmistakable note of authority, whilst the mechanical voice, notwithstanding its artificial loudness and regularity, seemed to be in a position of subordination and pleading. Noyes's tone exuded a kind of conciliatory atmosphere. The others I could make no attempt to interpret. I did not hear the familiar whisper of Akeley, but well knew that such a sound could never penetrate the solid flooring of my room. I will try to set down some of the few disjointed words and other sounds I caught, labeling the speaker of the words as best I know how. It was from the speech machine that I first picked up a few recognizable phrases. The speech machine. Bought it on myself, sent back the letters and record, end of it, taken in, seeing and hearing. Damn you, impersonal force, after all. Fresh, shiny cylinder. Great God. First buzzing voice. Was the first buzzing voice the authoritarian voice? Okay. I think it was. We're going to say it was. All right. I don't even know how a buzzing voice would sound. Time we stopped, small and human. That doesn't sound as buzzy as it does high. What does a buzzy voice sound like? It's the old man. No, that was like asthma and sick. Buzz. Yeah, buzz like a bee. It would be like that kind of. Buzz. Time we stopped, small and human, Akeley, brain saying. Second buzzing voice. Narlathrop, Lil Marth, records and letters, cheap imposters. The one I did before was good, thank you. Noise. An unpronounceable word or name, possibly Naga Kutun. Harmless piece, couple of weeks, theatrical. Told you that before. First buzzing voice. No reason, original plan, effects. Noyes can watch Roundhill. Fresh cylinders, Noyes' car. Noyes. Well, all yours. Down here. Rest place. Several voices at once in indistinguishable speech. Many footsteps, including the particular loose stirrings or clatterings. A curious sort of flapping sound. The sound of an automobile stirring and receding. Silence. That is the substance of what my ears brought as I lay rigid upon the strange upstairs bed in the haunted farmhouse among the Diamonic Hills. Lay there fully dressed, with a revolver clenched in my right hand, and a pocket flashlight gripped in my left. I became, as I have said, broad awake, but a kind of obscure paralysis nevertheless kept me inert, till long after the last echo of the sound had died away. I heard the wooden, deliberate ticking of the ancient Connecticut clock somewhere far below, and at the last made out the irregular snoring of a sleeper. Akeley must have dozed off after the strange session, and I could well believe that he needed to do so. Just what to think or what to do was more than I could decide. After all, what I had heard beyond things which previous information might have led me to expect. I had not known that the nameless outsiders were now freely admitted to the farmhouse. Or had I not known, sorry. No doubt Akeley had been surprised by an unexpected visit from them. Yet something in that fragmentary discourse had chilled me immeasurably, raised the most grotesque and horrible doubts, and made me wish fervently that I might wake up and prove everything a dream. I think my subconscious mind must have caught something which my consciousness has not yet recognized. But what of Akeley? Was he not my friend? And would he not have protested if any harm were meant me? The peaceful snoring below seemed to cast ridicule on all my sudden intensified fears. Was it possible that Akeley had been imposed upon and used as a lure to draw me into the hills with the letters and the pictures and the phonograph record? Did those beings mean to engulf us both in a common destruction because we had come to know too much? Again, I thought of the abruptness and unnaturalness of that change in the situation, which must have occurred between Akeley's multitude and final letters. Oh, I'm sorry. Penultimate. Yeah, okay. Something my instinct told me was terribly wrong. All was not as it seemed. That acrid coffee which I refused. Had there not been an attempt by some hidden unknown entity to drug me? I must talk to Akeley at once and restore his sense of proportion. They had hypnotized him with their promises of cosmic revelations. But now he must listen to reason. We must get out of this before it would be too late. If he lacked the willpower to make the break for liberty, I would supply it. Or if I could not persuade him to go, I could at least go myself. Surely he would let me take his Ford and leave it in a garage in Brattleboro. I had noticed it in the shed, the door being left unlocked and open, now that peril was deemed past, and I believed there was a good chance of it being ready for instant use. That momentary dislike of Akeley, which I had felt during and after the evening's conversation, was all gone now. He was in a position much like my own, and we must stick together. Knowing his indisposed conditions, I hated to wake him at this juncture, but I knew that I must. I could not stay in this place till morning, as matters stood. At last I felt able to act, and stretched myself vigorously to regain command of my muscles. Arising with a caution more impulsive than deliberate, I found and donned my hat, took my valise, and started downstairs with the flashlight's aid. In my nervousness, I kept the revolver clutched in my right hand, being able to take care of both valise and flashlight with my left. Why I exerted these precautions, I don't really know, since I was even then on my way to awaken the only other occupant of the house. As I half tiptoed down the creaking stairs to the lower hall, I could hear the sleeper more plainly, and noticed that he must be in the room on my left, the living room I had not entered. On my right was the gaping blackness of the study, in which I had heard the voices. Pushing open the unlatched door of the living room, I traced a path with the flashlight toward the source of the snoring, and finally turned the beams on the sleeper's face. But in the next second, I hastily turned them away, and commenced a cat-like retreat to the hall, my caution this time springing from reason as well as from instinct. For the sleeper on the couch was not Akeley at all, but my quondam guide Noyes. Just what the real situation was, I could not guess, but common sense told me that the safest thing was to find out as much as possible before arousing anybody. Regaining the hall, I silently closed the latch and latched the living room door after me, thereby lessening the chances of awakening Noyes. I now cautiously entered the dark study, where I expected to find Akeley, whether asleep or awake, in the great corner chair, which was evidently his favorite resting place. As I advanced, the beams of my flashlight caught the great center table, revealing one of the hellish cylinders with sight and hearing of machines attached, and with the speech machine standing close by, ready to be connected at any moment. This, I reflected, must be the encased brain I heard talking during the frightful conference, and for a second I had a perverse impulse to attach the speech machine and see what it would say. A perverse impulse. It must, I thought, be conscious of my presence even now, since the sight and hearing attachments could not fail to disclose the rays of my flashlight and the faint creaking of the floor beneath my feet. But in the end, I did not dare meddle with the thing. I idly saw that it was the fresh, shining cylinder with Akeley's name on it, which I had noticed on the shelf earlier in the evening, and which my host had told me not to bother. Looking back at that moment, I can only regret my timidity and wish that I had boldly caused the apparatus to speak. God knows what mysterious and horrible doubts and questions of identity it might have cleared up. But then, it may be merciful that I left it alone. From the table I turned my flashlight to the corner where I thought Akeley was, but found to my perplexity that the great easy chair was empty of any human occupant asleep or awake. From the seat to the floor there trailed voluminously the familiar old dressing gown, and near it, on the floor, lay the yellow scarf and the huge foot bandages I had thought so odd. As I hesitated, striving to conjecture where Akeley might be, and why he had suddenly discarded his necessary sick-room garments, I observed that the queer odor and sense of vibration were no longer in the room. What had been their cause? Curiously, it occurred to me that I had noticed them only in Akeley's vicinity. They had been strongest where he sat, and wholly absent except in the room with him, or just outside the doors of that room. I paused, letting the flashlight wander about the dark study, and raking my brain for explanations of the turn affairs had taken. Would to heaven I had quietly left the place before allowing that light to rest again on the vacant chair. As it turned out, I did not leave quietly, but with a muffled shriek, which must have disturbed, though it did not quite awake, the sleeping sentinel across the hall. That shriek, and Noyes' still unbroken snore, are the last sounds I ever heard in that morbidity-choked farmhouse beneath the black-wooded crest of haunted mountains, that focus of transcosmic horror amidst the lonely green hills and curse-muttering brooks of a spectral rustic land. It is a wonder that I did not drop flashlight, valise, and revolver in my wild scramble. But somehow I failed to lose any of these. I actually managed to get out of that room and that house without making any further noise, to drag myself and my belongings safely into the old Ford in the shed, and to set that archaic vehicle in motion towards some unknown point of safety in the black, moonless night. The ride that followed was a piece of delirium out of Poe or Rembrandt or the drawings of Doré, but finally I reached Townsend. That is all. If my sanity is still unshaken, I am lucky. Sometimes I fear what the years will bring, especially since the new planet Pluto has been so curiously discovered. As I have implied, I let my flashlight return to the vacant easy chair after its circuit of the room. Then, noticing for the first time the presence of certain objects in the seat, made inconspicuous by the adjacent loose folds of the empty dressing gown. These are the objects, 3 in number, which the investigators did not find when they came later on. As I said at the outset, there was nothing of actual visual horror about them. The trouble was in what they led one to infer. Even now, I have my moment of half-doubt, moments in which I have half accepted the skepticism of those who attribute my whole experience to dream and nerves and illusion. The 3 things were damnably clever constructions of their kind, and were furnished with ingenious metallic clamps to attach them to organic developments of which I dare not form any conjecture. I hope, devoutly hope, that they were the waxen products of a master artist, despite what my inmost fears tell me. Great God! That whisperer in darkness with his morbid odor and vibrations, sorcerer, emissary, changeling, outsider, that hideous repressed buzzing, and all the time in that fresh, shiny cylinder on the shelf. Poor devil! Prodigious surgical, biological, chemical, and mechanical skill. For the things in the chair, perfect to the last, subtle detail of microscopic resemblance or identity, were the face and hands of Henry Wentworth Akeley. The end. It was old boy in the chair. Oh no. Oh, yeah, the end. Oh my gosh. They didn't find him, so that's it. That must have meant that he went with them. He went on a cosmic journey. Oh. We finished just in enough time. My voice is about to give out for reading. It was hurting so bad. Oh. And we're almost to the top of the hour, too. So we can take a short break, and then we'll see how many episodes of the Magnus Archive that we can get through. So we will be starting with episode 7, The Piper. And let me pull up our timer and get all of that ready and reset so I don't make a mistake like last time. And start the timer when it hasn't been reset again. It's the old man. The moon is more planet. Hey, don't talk about Pluto. Leave baby girl alone. Alright, there is our hour reminder. So let's take a short break. The end. And uh-oh. Stop. Okay. It's AI. Wait, what is? Pluto is named after the god of the dead, not baby girl. Oh, our Bibu Poppy is having problems again. Ah. I want to go back and read the last chapter again. Why would it have just been his face and his hands? Because when they were talking about the surgery, they were saying that it was his... Oh, your voice. I can give you your voice back as well. Hold on. Speech. But when they were talking about the surgery, they said that the body... Where was it? And that the body is given like, okay. Yeah, that they get preserving fluids. So what happened to the rest of him? My brain has been removed from the body by fissions. The visiting beings have methods which make these extractions easy, almost normal. And one's body never ages when the brain is out of it. So where would his body have gone? Curiosity. But we just finished. Oh yeah, the story's over. The story is done. There is no more. The body just went to the void. No. Alright, we're going to turn Telepon off because I don't want spoilers for the show at all.
Really took some time.
Yeah. I I can't believe I read for 2 hours straight. The story was so good. I really like Lovecraft a lot. I want to read more stories um that are like his. I have to go through I need to go buy this ghost book story or ghost story book that I saw in the store.
You love Lovecraft.
You love Lovecraft. I like his writing, yes. I love Lovecraft. But I'm gonna take a break and go get some warm tea now that I'm done with my coffee so that I can actually like nurse my voice because I don't want it to be gone for tomorrow's stream. We're not gonna be reading tomorrow. I think I'll probably because my plans changed, so I won't be away tomorrow or this weekend. So we will have Thursday and Friday. So tomorrow I might play one of the cozy games that we had started, whether it's the bar side game, or maybe we'll go back to the cozy, what was the cozy crafting, or not crafting game that we had started, Cozy Grove. So we might go back to Cozy Grove. And if we don't do Cozy Grove, oh, we still have Cabernet to finish as well too. But tomorrow we will probably just do Mine. I am horrible at Minecraft. No sleep is amazing at Minecraft. I never really I don't know why. Like we've tried to play so many times before and I love farming games. But what I really want to play is the Pokopia, the new the new Pokemon game because it's like Minecraft, Stardew Valley, and Animal Crossing all together.
Pokopia.
Yeah, Pokopia. I want to play it. So I'm debating if we should start that on stream or not. I kind of want to. I have it. I've been waiting. I'm like, I don't want to play it on my own. I think I want to play it with everyone. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow because that's a good long game to get into. It's a lot bigger than I thought. I was like looking at the previews and the videos of the game before it released, and I was like, it kind of looks like every little farm game that's out right now. And then I saw like some of the housing that people were building, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is huge. It's so much larger than I thought, and there's so much more than you can do in it. And I like how the elements of all of those games, because I love Animal Crossing. Um, And I like how all of the elements sort of blend really well together. So we might do that tomorrow. I gotta get my capture card and everything hooked up and make sure that that's gonna display properly. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But I might do a long stream tomorrow. I have to see what I have to tend to in the archives of Somnium. And then we'll be here sometime tomorrow. It'll either be around sometime around the late afternoon, I think. If I do a long day stream, otherwise we'll be back here around 8 o'clock again. But okay, short break, and then we're gonna start. So, is it still pinned? Okay, it is still pinned. And the timer is up. All right, I'll be right back. Alright. I had to. I need to take care of my voice for tomorrow. Um, alright. Yes, we're in an intermission. Did you make it back? The big eye in the background.
We're back.
We are back. There should be a big sign saying the intermission. No. Alright, let's get ready. Again, we are going to be catching up with the Magnus Archive. We're on episode 7. And the way that this works is that
I should say intermission on loop.
No, I turned telepon off because I don't want it to spoil any of the episodes. So the way that this works is I'm gonna count backwards from, well, I'm gonna say darn it. I'm gonna count backwards. Well, I'm not gonna count backwards. The clock is gonna count backwards from 5 to 1, and then we start, and the time will pop up on the screen. So 5. Well, I will let you know when the countdown begins. All right, is everybody ready? Ready?
Yay.
Yeah. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. The rain is so fitting in the background for these. Magnus Archive. Sorry.
Rule 1: Don't be nice.
Why would you be not nice? Wheel moth.
Oh no.
I was just thinking the same thing. Wow.
E.
Ew. It's such a great visual. Oh my goodness.
They seen him?
They've seen the war. Is that what Pay the Piper came from?
Unlike the rain.
That would be so creepy.
creepy.
Yeah, especially the eye-opening part. All right. Number 8 is burned out. And I reset the clock properly this time. You think that he was the piper when he was in the hospital and he looked over and that person died, that it was because of him.
Maybe.
That's what I was thinking. All right. You ready?
I didn't fully understand what was going on.
I need to go back and actually look up the story of the Pied Piper because I was kind of curious about it because I thought that the Pied Piper...
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. I thought that the Pied Piper was the story about the town of people. I just remember there was a man who came into the town. He had a pipe. He had not a pipe. He had like a flute or something. And the townsfolk were cruel to him or something. And then he played his pipe and the children followed him and he led them out of the town. So I'm assuming that the Pied Piper, when he says that he met the war, like that persona with the 3 heads that he was talking about, that was like the Pied Piper, I guess, in a way. I don't know. I gotta go back and look at the story. But okay, countdown begins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Pied Piper, so I don't forget. Oh, it actually is a legend, a legendary tale from Germany. Oh. So the Pied... I'll tell you after. It's about the Pied Piper. He's just standing there menacingly.
The tooth guy.
Oh, why would it be the tooth guy? What's a phantom smell?
Phantom pain, but smell.
Oh, I've never heard of that before.
Fake smell?
Is that why you said the tooth guy?
All the teeth are in his hands.
Yes!
Just said it for fun XD.
Oh my gosh, you were right.
Phantom smells, known as phantosmia, are olfactory hallucinations where individuals detect odors that aren't present in their environment.
Reminder.
creepy. Like how I can smell both of you without you being here, through the
You're
screen.
hilarious.
Faintly lavender. Smell?
No.
What?
Why was his hand missing?
Did he have teeth?
No. Panic.
Now he gon' die. Oh, now he cold?
Why would you open it? Aww.
Ah, the old lady.
Yeah, the nurse.
What the tree do?
Ah. All because he bumped his head.
He's Crisino.
Because he bumped his head.
End.
You just bumped your head, that's all.
Robertson's Archive.
Robertson's.
Magnus.
The Magnus Archive.
WTF.
I know. How? How? So he's saying,
why does she have the hand?
well, the hand would be his, but then also, why does she have the hand? But how did they, if the hand died at the same time that she did, based on the decomposition? But they found his body when the house burnt down. I don't know how long it had been before. I forgot what, when they, I think they said back in the, oh God, I don't remember. Okay. That one has me perplexed. Unless she was keeping the hand alive with some kind of magic, or it was tied to her way. Unless he was like the tree somehow, or he was tied to the tree in some kind of way.
Keeping it alive with a cold glass of water.
With the cold glass of water. It would have to be your magic water if it was anyone's water to make it live so long. Alright, we are just 15
Ice
minutes.
cold.
It has to be ice cold. We are just 15 minutes past the 3 hour mark. Do you want to do one more? How are you doing? Because I know that it's late for you, so you're gonna see the sunrise again. And then you're gonna blame me for your sleeping problems.
One more fine.
Okay. One more night of the sun greeting you as you go to bed. Alright, number 9 of the Magnus Archives. A Father's Love.
Well, it is your fault.
I don't know what to
It's just
say.
too
I'm
fun to listen with
sorry.
you.
Aw, that was sweet. Mm. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I think it's such a good show. Even now, I'm just like, we're gonna be to episode 10 soon, and I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, we're 190 episodes away from the end, and I don't want it to be over. It gets so much scarier. There are some episodes that I'm just like, what? Alright. You ready? Last one before we call it a night or a morning.
We many stream away.
We are many streams away.
Doggo.
I wonder how many we would get through in the 12-hour stream. All right, go, go, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Launch, launch, launch.
At EP 200 we will know every word orf the intro.
A rusty quill presents. Aw, that Witches. It's such a cute movie. Okay, not cute, but
Haven't seen it.
it's like a classic movie.
Like no.
I was just thinking that. I was gonna say
It's getting bright.
like now for you, dear. The sun is rising.
totem? What is that?
Maybe like a little statue with different animals carved on it.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what a totem is. Or I think it could just... Yeah, like a sacred object, sorry. Or an emblem. But it can be carved as well, too.
Happiest.
Yeah, with my murderous father.
What was left?
What was left?
XD. And they had no teeth.
That's where all the teeth were. Well, didn't she say he killed 40 some odd people? We're solving the mysteries. Oh no.
He's resurrecting her.
Aww. Oh, that would be so terrifying.
E.
Ew. Ugh.
A ghost.
I don't
The
know.
monitor.
I think the the thing that was blowing out all the light bulbs that was coming towards her in the house. I think it was whatever that is. And him stabbing the heart.
Shadow thing.
Yeah, him stabbing the heart with the thing, like it stopped it coming towards her. So, but I still don't understand about what happened to his wife and then the necklace. They obviously were all a part of that church, so maybe it was some sort of like human sacrifice. But then why would the shadow thing come after them? I love this. I love these stories because you actually really have to
Maybe.
you really have to sort of pay attention because everything ties together. Like even though I'm ahead on some parts of this, like I'm still like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. Like there's things that I didn't catch the first time listening to it. So it's so good. But now, as in the beginning of this one, you need to go to rest, my dear.
So they are connected.
They're all connected.
You
Like,
liar.
no, I did not. I said I don't want to give you any spoilers. But that's why I was saying that you have to listen to them in chronological order because they all go together. He's like, how dare you not tell me the truth?
Um.
Yeah, everything goes together. That's what makes it really good. Like the writing skill. I'm I'm really amazed. There's some episodes though when we get to them, they're gonna be so man, they're really gruesome. They're really gruesome. Like that episode was really gruesome too. He was doing like some sort of ceremonies with all of the people.
Oh yeah. Random question. You
Hmm.
mentioned inhaler before?
Yeah, yes. The dream siren has asthma. Leave me alone. Why are you asking about my inhaler? have asthma.
Oh no, had it when I was younger.
Aww. I think it used to be a lot worse, but sometimes it
Oh,
just
you said
gets...
it when you were acting as old man.
Yeah, um, that really bothered my throat. My throat actually still hurts a bit, but I'm gonna just keep drinking my tea and hope to be gentle with my voice tomorrow. We'll probably just play a little chill game tomorrow. I might start Wikipedia, like I said, so that way I don't have to do much reading tomorrow. And then Friday, I think, is gonna be... Didn't I say last week that Friday was
But,
gonna be
sleeping
all...
time.
Yes, you go sleep. But Friday's gonna be all the Magnus Archives, so that's all we have planned for Friday. So we'll get through more episodes by then. Okay, so we're leaving off with number 9. Thank you for being here today. You get some sleep, dear. And sweet dreams to everyone else as well. Oyasumira. Good night. And the sweetest and sweetest of dreams. See you tomorrow.